Welcome back. We are going to talk about gathering. We're going to start with the basic, a better and a best way of doing it, and a few little cheats and tips. So any of our patterns that feature gatherings, that's the ball gown, flamingo dress, party dress, what else? The fairy, I think. So this is a really good technique that you'll use time and time again. You just got to find the way that suits you best. By the way, you might notice my new pinny, my new workroom studio apron. Kudos to Mum and Dad who actually made this for me and did the embroidery in their own craft studio. Go and visit craftacalia.co.uk and check them out, give them some love. It's brilliant and I'm using it so much, and it's got this amazing pocket for all my scissors and bits and bobs, so I was absolutely thrilled to receive this. I think Christmas and birthday presents that are handmade are the absolute best, and it's the only one in the world. Okay, so let's get into gathering. We're going to take the camera now over my shoulder and show you how you can achieve a really professional finish with some very, very simple tips and tricks. Right, let's talk about hand sewn gathering. As it sounds, we've got a length of thread. I've doubled it in half, and there is the loop. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our hand sewing needle and we're going to thread both ends, these cut ends of the thread in, leaving the loop at the bottom. And very simply, all we're going to do is pop your needle through and back down, and before you pull it all the way through, just pop your needle through that loop. And what's that has done is that has secured that thread now instead of tying a knot, which will make it an awful lot easier. And then we're just going to do a running stitch. Try and keep your stitch length even, because that will make your gathers look more even, all the way through to the other side, and then we're going to pull. So there is our running stitch, and to gather all we need to do is pull that thread through till it's all bunched up, get your pattern piece and just check that width. So we're going to gather it up until it fits between those crosses, and I think that's about it. So holding that tightly, just end off your thread because you don't actually want it unraveling. Give it a trim. Now when this gathering has been popped into the garment, well, you can then come back and remove these pink stitches if you want to. So we would do the same on the other side, and you will have one gathered sleeve ready, and repeat on the second. Now the machine way of gathering. Okay, so it's time to talk about machine gathering. I've got a long test piece here of tulle. Tripod's in the way, excuse me. Right, so what we're going to do to gather this in the machine is we want to loosen our tension down to about 2. So if you have a tension wheel, I'll just show you. Mine is currently on auto. You can see the little light. And I'm going to use the knob on the top to come down to 2, and this is going to give us a loose tension on the top. The bobbin for tension stays the same. Let me just settle the camera down. Right, okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose the longest stitch that we have. So on my machine, it's 4.5mm, which is also fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop our work under there. Do not back stitch, do not back tack, because you want to use these threads to gather up. We're just going to blast down here. Seems very wrong sewing with inappropriate tension, but I promise you it's worth it. So we just get to the end. Again, no back tack. And what you want to do is you want to take your work out backwards, out to the back of the machine, and we're going to remove the work but leave a long tail on those threads, and then we'll put those threads back next time so we don't get birds nesting. Now if I move my machine backwards slightly, give me some more table space. You've got 2 threads where we started and 2 threads where we finished. So the idea of this is you just secure those threads around your finger. I wrap them around there. And then what you want to do is just gently tease, because the tension is in inverted commas wrong, you can then tease the fabric down the stitches, and you can already see that's starting to gather really nicely there. So if I just keep going, just teasing that down there, teasing that down there. The advantages of doing it this way is you will get a lovely even gather, because the stitch is being measured by the machine. And there we go. So we can go all the way, or we can go to wherever you fancy. So that is how to use your machine to gather. How pretty is that? Okay, and then what I do is when I've got it to the length that I want, I just tie off the ends together. So this little test piece, for instance, is going to have a little knot. Push that knot down, and that should hold now. Likewise with the other side, you need to secure that one, because obviously if I just pull this out, if you don't secure both ends, you've then got runaway gathering. And actually, if you put that into your machine, the pressure from the foot will cause it to run away if you don't secure it. So please do. Right, now here is a cheats way to gather. You're going to love this. This is brilliant. So what you need is a piece of yarn, scrap piece of string, could be a curtain drawstring. What else have I got lying around? Bit of ribbon, although I probably wouldn't suggest ribbon. Embroidery thread, that would be another one you could use. Now for this, just make sure your tension is all right. And then we're going to select a zigzag stitch with a wide width. So that is how much zig and how much zag. And then the stitch length is how far apart the stitches are as they move forward. So I, for instance, have got my zigzag stitch employed. I've got a width of 7 and a length of 3. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pop this yarn on the material or on the tulle, and we're going to position it under the foot with the yarn in the middle. Now, I am doing this on my little camera so that you can see what I'm doing. A little bit agricultural filming wise, I do apologise, but it gets the job done. So there you can see the yarn's in the middle. What on earth is she talking about? Okay, so what we're going to do is, holding the yarn taut, we're just going to zigzag over that yarn, keeping the yarn in the middle. Do not sew into the yarn, you do not want to catch it in. Don't catch it in. And when you get to the end, you're simply going to raise your foot and take the work out the back. Whoop, I can do that on mine. Keep forgetting about that thread cutter, it's genius. Right, so now you can see what we've got is we've got yarn that's been zigzagged over, and if you hold the yarn and the threads this end, you can just pull the zigzags down over the yarn, and you've got a lovely even gather. And of course this yarn can be cut off later, unpicked, whatever you fancy. I think that's absolutely genius. And there we go. So that's another way to gather. How easily it just slides up and down. And you can even remove it and start again.